objectives for this speech are to begin speaking before an audience, to discover speaking skills you already have, and skills that need some attention. The title of her speech is Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. Please help me welcome Holly Mays.
Age ain't nothing but a number. We've all heard that phrase before, haven't we? Particularly when people are celebrating a birthday. In the weeks leading up to my birthday this past year, I've heard that phrase once or twice. What do you think people mean when they say that? What does that phrase mean to you? Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, I'm here to tell you age is much more than a number. I've learned, perhaps more so in these last few weeks, that it's an opportunity. It's a time to reflect on where you are in life, where you're headed, and where you've been. I was born in Eaton Rapids, Michigan, which is a small town located in between Lansing and Jackson. I was the oldest of 3 children. I lived with my mother, my stepfather, my half-brother, and my half-sister. We were extremely poor when we were growing up, and I had to adapt to the fact that not only was I different because of the poverty, but because I was raised in a very strict religious household. We were not allowed to associate with children in my school unless they were from my religion. And we weren't allowed to celebrate holidays, things like birthdays, Christmas. I didn't join any after-school activities or sports because any free time that I had was supposed to be spent serving God. What I did enjoy doing was reading. I read everything I could get my hands on, and I loved writing. And I also loved photography. So even though we couldn't really afford to have the film developed or buy the film, I had a little 110 camera, and I would run around and I would frame pictures through the viewfinder, and I took thousands of pictures that way, and I think they all turned out too. As a teen, I was very rebellious. I know I caused my parents a lot of grief. I think part of that was because I spent a lot of time hiding who I was from my classmates at school, and I spent the same amount of time hiding who I wanted to be from my parents and the elders at my church. But a lot of times I had questions, and I asked myself, what did my future hold, and who was I? I didn't have answers to those questions as a teenager at all. But I did know 2 things. I did not want to be poor, and I did not want to be stifled. So I graduated high school, and I attempted college twice. And I dropped out of college twice. At the age of 20, I became an older sister again. My parents had another child. And at the age of 21, I had my own first daughter. I still was asking, who is Holly? Who is she? I decided to start celebrating holidays for the first time, and in doing so, I alienated myself from my parents. As far as jobs went, I did everything from waitressing. I sold stars, the right to name stars, at the International Star Registry. I worked in real estate. I worked in insurance. And by the end of my 20s, I got married for the first time, and I gave birth to my second daughter. At this time, my oldest daughter, Kelsey, was in 1st grade. She went to 3 different schools for 1st grade. And it was then that I knew that I had to do something. I had to change. And I had aspirations. I realized I wanted security, not only for me, but for my children. So I got a divorce, and I found a stable job with the state that provided medical benefits, and that was very important to me because I wasn't raised with health insurance. I bought my first house, I went to college, 3rd time's a charm, got my certificate in photography, and started my own business. I traveled around the country with After Dark Education, where we taught other people how to start and properly run their own photography business. I got remarried to my second husband, who I'm currently married to now, and he's the love of my life, and he's very supportive. My 30-year-old self went about getting everything that my younger self in my 20s and the previous part of my life wanted, and it worked. Today is my 40th birthday. It hasn't always been easy this as a positive milestone. In fact, the weeks and days leading up to this have been very difficult for me at times. It's only recently that I'm trying to look at this in a different way. Instead of mourning the loss of the years behind me, I'm trying to look at it with wonderment. What are the next 10 years going to bring? What are the next 20 years going to bring? I'm reflecting on who Holly is today and the friends and the family who have been there and supported me throughout my journey. Age ain't nothing but a number. I stand behind what I say when I say it's a lot more than a number. It's an opportunity to look inward and see what your goals are and where you want to go, and it's an opportunity to look back and see how far you've come. Whatever the future brings, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.